The final guide map from my 2017 trip to Disney World is from the Animal Kingdom. As with the Magic Kingdom, the entrance on the guide map is here at the bottom. And you arrive to the Animal Kingdom either by Disney bus transportation or in your own car. There's a very, very large parking area in this general area off the map here. Once going through the entrance, the first land is the Oasis, where you can get your first look at some of the wonderful animal exhibits. I think a lot of people, especially when it opened, thought of the Animal Kingdom as a zoo, which in some respects is true, but I do think that's a little unfair characterization based on all of the other attractions based here. But there is certainly a focus on live animals and their natural habitats. And as a zoo, I would say it's one of the better ones that I've been to. But back to the Oasis. We have two main paths that sort of circle this tropical area with a few meandering paths in between. Most of the animals in this area are bird species and some water-loving species. It's a nice place to just sort of meander around and take your time. There are also a few little caves that you can explore and sit in on your way to the main hub of Animal Kingdom, which is Discovery Island. So like Magic Kingdom, Animal Kingdom is a sort of modified hub and spoke park where Discovery Island acts as the hub, where the branches lead to the other lands directly. On Discovery Island, you'll mostly find a couple of restaurants and gift shops. But around the park's main physical logo, I guess you would call it, which is known as the Tree of Life. It's a man-made, very large baobab replica, and the trunk is carved with many different animals. It's a really nice piece of artwork. But around the Tree of Life, there are lots of little meandering paths that also have a few animals in their habitats that you can look at and find a nice photo spot. Inside the Tree of Life is the main attraction on Discovery Island, which is a 3D film. The film is called It's Tough to Be a Bug, and it's inspired by the Pixar movie A Bug's Life. I seem to remember that is being changed to something else, but I haven't looked recently to see what that is or if it's been done yet. But as of 2017, it was still It's Tough to Be a Bug. So from Discovery Island, let's again start in clockwise direction, which would first lead us into the themed area of Africa. One of the best attractions in all of Disney World has to be the Kilimanjaro safaris, which is a real-life safari ride through many different animal habitats that try to replicate different parts of Africa and the animals' natural homes. The safari vehicle is often right next to giraffes and zebras and other animals that can walk right up to it. And sometimes you have to wait for them to cross the road. But on the safari you also get to see animals like elephants and lions, hippopotamus. There are some flamingos and various antelope type animals as well. I want to say the safari lasts maybe 30 to 45 minutes. So it's a really immersive experience and highly recommended. The other main attraction in the African land here is the Festival of the Lion King, which is a live musical production of the Lion King. Not as elaborate or broad as the Broadway show, but still very impressive, and performed multiple times per day in its own theater. And there's also a market area for food and drinks and a restaurant, as well as smaller shops. One other thing that you can do in Africa is board a small train to what's called Rafiki's Planet Watch, which is basically a veterinary station where a lot of the animals that you see in the park are treated. And there's also a petting zoo there, which is a lot of fun if you've enjoy petting zoos or if you have small children. Leaving Africa, our next themed land is Asia. By far the main attraction in Asia has to be over here. This is Expedition Everest, Legend of the Forbidden Mountain, which is a super fun roller coaster. And while not as thrilling as a true roller coaster for roller coaster lovers, it is themed and epic in a way that only Disney can do until recently, and now I would say in a way that only Disney and Universal can do. You really get the sense you are in a village and base camp in the Himalayas, and the train that you ride that takes you into the mountain is a lot of fun. Another attraction in Asia are the Kali River Rapids, which is an intertube style ride. The intertubes are very large, so they hold, I want to say, about 8 to 12 people. And you kind of float along, but there are some rapids areas, and chances are pretty good that you will get wet, depending on where you are on the raft. Will determine how wet you get. But sometimes that's nice on a really hot Florida summer day. There's also a another walk-through animal exhibit called the Maharaja Jungle Trek, where you can see animals native to Asia. Some highlights being the tiger exhibit. And there's also a really cool bat house, if you're into bats. And as in Africa, there are various shops and places to eat in this land as well. Exiting Asia, we enter a land called Dinoland U.S.A, which, to be honest, seems a bit of an afterthought compared to the other two. But before you get into Dinoland proper, this building houses a really great musical show based on Finding Nemo. The cast is very talented, and it's a very interesting show to watch how they produce the story from the film. And again, it is performed multiple times per day live. It's very impressive. It doesn't quite fit any of the themed lands, and I guess you could argue it really should be in a different theme park, but if you find yourself at Animal Kingdom, I highly recommend you check that out. But anyway, on to Dinoland. The main attraction in Dinoland would probably be Dinosaur, the ride, which was one of the opening day rides for Animal Kingdom, which, by the way, I believe opened in 1998. It's the newest of the Disney World theme parks. It's not quite a roller coaster, but it is categorized as a thrill ride. The other main section of Dinoland is a kind of midway game style area with a couple of carnival type rides and midway game booths. It's a very low effort type of area that you would really not expect to find in Disney World. And I hope one day they change this to something maybe more impressive. One really nice thing in Dinoland, though, if you have young children, is right here. This is called the Boneyard, and it's a enclosed large play area for children. And it's a really nice place to let your kids kind of run wild and know that there's only one way in and out of this area, and parents kind of get a break and can sit while their kids play and burn some energy. As you might imagine, it's themed as a sort of dinosaur dig site, and it's really well done. There are also a few shops and restaurants in Dinoland, as in the other lands. Leaving Dinoland, you are back in Discovery Island and ready to head back to the exits. There is one glaring omission on this map, and that is the new land based on the Avatar film series, which sits in this area. I have had a chance to go there since it opened, and there are two main attractions there. One is a sort of boat ride, and the other is a very immersive ride that is similar to the mechanism of Soarin', but much more immersive, as it's also a 3D film. It's hard to kind of explain, but it's a lot of fun, but it often has very long wait times. But as of the time in 2017 that I was here, that had not yet opened. I think a lot of people consider Animal Kingdom to be a half-day park, in that if you plan well, you can probably do most things in half a day here. That is the Animal Kingdom as of 2017. As you may notice, if you are a fan of Disney World and have been there recently or ever, there's one important guide map missing, and that is the one from Hollywood Studios. The simple answer for that is that we did not visit Hollywood Studios on this particular trip, and so I did not get one of the maps. But I have been there many times and do enjoy it, and it is especially fun with the new Star Wars Land Galaxy's Edge that has been added. And I probably talk about that another time. But as always, I would love to hear your thoughts. I thank you for hanging out and taking a look at these older guide maps with me. I would love to hear your experiences if you've been to Walt Disney World or maybe other theme parks that you enjoy, if that is something that you enjoy doing. I always have a lot of fun and almost always want to go back immediately after I get home. Anyway, I hope this video finds you well and a little less anxious. Until next time, goodbye.